Hello everyone, my name is Hoshizora Akari and today we're gonna continue streaming this lovely game. Sorry for a small delay. I had some problems with capturing the game itself. Maybe because I reinstalled my drivers. And I hope my microphone will be okay too, because yeah, that's very important. That's very important. The last time we had some issues with my microphone, so yeah, I hope they are fixed now. If not, then well, then it probably means that I need to reinstall my Windows or that I need to think of something else. Okay. For now, let's wait for other people to come. And yeah, let's just talk about what we had today, what we had during the last couple of days. Oh, hello, Karuna. How are you doing? Yeah, Windows is definitely scary, but unfortunately, I probably can't run necessary software on Linux or MacBook. Well, actually, I can, but it doesn't work as well as on Windows. Unfortunately, that's a big problem. And yeah, I know some other VTubers who had issues with that because they wanted to stream using their favorite systems like Linux or Apple, but yeah, they had some problems with that. Okay, Karuna, I'm doing just fine, other than spending more time than I'd like to admit, wondering what's going on with my relationships with other people. Oh, yes, I can understand it, because relationships with other people is a complicated topic. Yeah. I'm being very obvious here. So you may tell us what happened to you if you want, of course. If you don't want it, then it's totally okay. Okay, otherwise, though, I'm visiting my family these days, and sadly I'll be leaving in half an hour or so. Oh, I see. Sorry, yes. Well, I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to stream tomorrow, because today I had a really strange day. And I wasn't sure if it's a good idea to stream, but I decided that no. Let's keep our schedule, because because if I fail keeping my schedule, it will be the end. And something will, yeah. All right. So I see that there aren't many people here right now, although the statistics on YouTube is quite cursed. Fortunately, it doesn't count people correctly sometimes, so I hope it's just wrong in some way. Oh, hi, Mirai no Hito. How are you doing? So while we're waiting for more people to come, I can tell a bit about what I did today. So today I went to Akihabara to meet my friends, and I got a free ticket for Comiket. Yay! So on December 31, before the New Year's, I'm going to go to Tokyo Big Sight and buy lots of comic books, doujinshi, maybe games, and there are some other plans that I have there. So probably I'll report about it a bit later, after the new year, after the new year comes, because, well, these couple of days are going to be really, really crazy. because I have too many plans, I have too many people to meet, and so on. So, yeah, well, meeting friends sounds like fun. Yeah, exactly. So we trolled around Akiba, watched some eroge in eroge stores. We didn't buy anything though. And also I bought myself a used Windows Surface. This is something which is between a laptop and a tablet, and I'm gonna use it for doing my reports, for writing my thesis, for my literature work. Like, I have a fanfic I'm struggling to write for quite a long time, so yeah. It was pretty cheap, so it was nice. Maybe tomorrow I will tell more about that. Okay. Yeah, comic, it sounds like double fun. Yes, double fun. Yes, exactly. This comic, it will be really, really crazy, because there will be lots of Rico Doujinshi, Licorice Recoil. There will be a lot of Toho. Also, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm for Doujinshi for Bocchizaroku, for Licorice Recoil, and for Toho. Of course. I'm too much of a Toho fan. Toho, yeah. That's great. So I see that that there are more people now, so let's begin our game. If you have time, and if you want, you may share your experience. You may share with us how you are spending these days. So please let us know. All right. Well, yeah, continue. Actually, it's continue. So let me remind you where we stopped the last time. So our protagonist is called Otto, and he's a miller at a mill that is broken. He lives in a very isolated village, and he also used to have an older brother, but he left 10 years ago to save someone. Now, but later, a mysterious girl with big glasses and boobs, yeah, appeared, and she became a teacher and at this village, and also she became his older sister. But he just got kidnapped by some knight in black armor. So we are now going to save her. That's our quest. Sorry, I just spilled my water here, so I will do something to that with that. One moment, please. Oh my gosh, this is such a mess here. Okay. Wait a second, please. Yeah, I got too emotional while telling this story. I hope everything will be okay. Yeah, how much the doujin manga cost? Oh, usually it's around 500 yen. Doujin novels may be a bit more expensive, like 1,000 or 700. But usually it's it's 500. It's not well, how to say that? The thing with the doujin manga is that official manga and official light novels usually cost pretty much the same. Like around 600-700 yen, depending on the publisher, on a format. For example, some larger manga of larger formats like Kirara, like for example Machikado Mazoku or Bochizaroku, they cost a bit more. They're more expensive. And yeah, doujinshis are expensive sometimes because people need to somehow compensate the money that they spend for having their works published. Okay, so going back to the story of this game, as I said before, the older sister of this guy has been kidnapped, and he's heading somewhere to save her. And he met this really gorgeous girl, Switch, who is a very good soldier, and who's wearing a bikini armor, a set of bikini armor. Yes. So that's where we stopped. And also we know that this the sister was quite an important person somewhere, and that's why she was kidnapped. And probably she got kidnapped by the same people she lived with before. Alright, so that's where we stopped. And now let's continue. Okay. Oh, it's just you. Sorry, did I wake you? I was wondering what was causing that scratching sound. It was just you scribbling away with that pen. What are you writing? Actually, can you even write? That's rude. You really do say some shockingly rude things without batting an eyelid. Never mind. Anyway, I'm writing a note for Rosh. I'll be leaving it here with a few supplies. Rosh is that ugly bandit from yesterday. Why would you share our food with him? Call it brotherhood among exiles or something like that. Ridiculous. The only reason he didn't slit our throats in our sleep was because he was too scared to come near me. Oh, she thinks... yeah. I forgot how to say that. Well, her opinion about herself is quite high, I see. That's beside the point. After pooling our supplies, I think we can spare this much. This face. To be frank, you brought way too much food. Even without the stuff that was destroyed when you crashed, we have plenty. Don't think me a glutton. I just have a high metabolism. Don't remember the correct stress in this word. Sure, okay. If the worst comes to pass, you can chew on one of my ears. I'll hold you to that. Do you mind if I tell him where your dragon's carcass is? Huh? Why? I don't follow. People actually having good opinion about themselves can be admirable sometimes. Yeah, and she is admirable, without a doubt. It seems like a shame to just leave it there for the crows to gorge themselves on. Now that I think about it, the uncooked flesh is supposed to be toxic, right? Yep. I hear that in the wild the other members of a roost will roast their dead and cannibalize them. Right, but since there are no other dragons around here, that isn't gonna happen. That great brute is just going to rot away in the sun whilst its poisonous blood seeps into the earth. It turns my stomach to think about it. Rather than that, if Rosh were to heed my advice and tell the village where it is, they might at least be able to get some use out of the skin, bones, and horse and such like. Maybe then they'll even forgive his transgressions. Two birds with one stone. Huh. What strange details you choose to focus on? Huh? Is it strange? I hadn't given the slightest thought to the blasted dragon's carcass, let alone the welfare of that mormonic bandit. Oh, do whatever you want, but do it quick. Now that I'm awake, I'm hankering for some breakfast. Yeah, she's kind of a glutton. Well, that's adorable. After eating, my new companion and I sally forth across the valley's lower altitudes. Switch is striding ahead, the various plates of her strange armor tapping against one another in a steady marching beat. I trudge along behind, her own supplies adding to my encumbrance. I suppose I can follow the logic that one of us should be ready for action at a moment's notice. She did it again. Why does she keep stopping like that? I'll tell you if you're heading in the wrong direction, you know? You don't have to keep looking back at me. It's not that, but... What's wrong? I feel as though you're going to say I'm being rude again. Your attempt at being considerate is appreciated, but let's hear it. Well, even accounting for the fact that you're carrying most of our supplies, aren't you rather slow? I knew you'd be annoyed. I get the feeling you're starting to think of me as some kind of a insensitive clod. It's fine. Calm down. That's not it. It's just something I tend to forget about, since it's rarely an issue in my day-to-day life. What is it? Are you lame or something? I wouldn't go that far, it's only... Oh, that was scary. Only a childhood injury that didn't quite heal right. It slows me down a bit, but that's all. It's not like I'm invalid or anything. Everyone's got something wrong with them. Really? I can't think of anything that's wrong with me. Switch twirls on her heels, showing off every facet of a lithe, athletic body that is nevertheless by no means lacking in feminine charm. Yeah, she's lovely. I'm basically perfect. Right, basically perfect. And modest too. Say, what made you choose the name Switch? Oh, you figured out it's not my real name? It didn't sound right to me somehow. Maybe because it's homophonous with a word in this language. And probably the word you're thinking of, though. Really? That's right, you speak our tongue fluently. You don't even have much of an accent. Byronese is practically the same as Western Steppe. I learned both when I was a student. Oh, she's a bilingual. That's nice. She's really perfect, I must say. I want a GF like her. Basically perfect. That's a shocker. I'm really struggling to imagine this incorrigible tomboy in an academic setting. This "you don't even have much of an accent" give me some flashbacks, and I don't dislike them, but that's what Karuna says on the chat. You can share this story with us. We totally don't mind. Actually, it would be appreciated. Now you're the one thinking something rude. But unlike you, I'm limited to my thoughts. Anyway, it's switch as an exchange. I don't understand the significance. You're forgetting it can be used to mean whip as well. Whip. Was it that thing that you beat people with? Like, yeah, a strip of leather of length of cord fastened to a handle used for flogging or beating a person. I love her name. That's great, yeah. You're forgetting it can be used to mean whip as well. Ah, oh, this sound, yes. Huh? Well, why are you averting your eyes? It's cool, right? It is rather chilly for this time of year. Don't change the subject! Okay, let's read our chat for a moment. Okay, Karuna, it was the story I probably shared with at least Hoshi somehow. We were having a Christmas meal in our parish, and while I was speaking my L1 and complaining that I can't quite figure how to say this or that thing, a lady told me that no, you speak quite well, you don't even have much of an accent. I think that it's rather an achievement of some sort, because, yeah, who even needs to speak in one's own first language? That's some cringe. Sorry, that was a stupid joke. Alright. After falling into a pace we're both comfortable with, we spent the remainder of the morning progressing steadily, and at length we draw close to the first major obstacle of our journey. If memory serves, we'll be practically on top of it once we're over this hill. Great! I was just starting to get bored of these mountains. We crest the last ridge, and below us spreads a sea of black trees, submerged in a thick, unnatural mist. This is the infamous cursed forest, huh? It does look rather foreboding. Spoils the view a bit, I should think. Awkward silence. With that gross trivialization of our community's circumstances hanging in the air, we make the final descent. Okay, I need to reread that because foreboding, I forgot what is foreboding. Sorry. Like the last time I streamed this game, I basically didn't have any problems with the vocabulary of this game, but now foreboding, a feeling that something bad will happen, fearful apprehension. Spoils the view a bit. Yeah, okay. I didn't quite got the joke here. All right, that happens. Chapter 2: The Forest at the Mouth of the Valley. Yes, I made a screenshot. Within the gloomy confines of the trees, the clement weather of the valley feels a world away. I could be told night had fallen, and I would believe it. Hoping to find some kind of reassurance, I look up. The blue sky is still there, but bordered on all sides by a tattered frame of black foliage. It appears terribly remote. It's foliage. Okay, it's a French word, so it will be foliage. Far from being reassured, I only feel the bleakness of our present environs all the more keenly. I hear Switch clear her throat in a pointed manner. How did it end up like this? She snatches a black leaf from a low-hanging bough and twirls the stalk between her fingers. It's not natural. We don't know what's causing it, but it's gotten especially inhospitable in the last few years. Almost now, nobody is willing to travel through it anymore. Almost nobody? It's stupid, but there is supposed to be an incredibly beautiful nymph who lives somewhere amongst these trees. That's not so stupid. I've run into a few powerful spirits and the like in my time, and more often than not, they're beautiful as well. There is no smoke without a fire, I suppose. Anyway, every now and then, one of the young guys will set off looking for this mysterious beauty and never return, right? I wonder what happened to them. Casually, but quite suddenly, Switch draws her sword. There's more in this forest than lovely nymphs, at any rate. Monsters? They're hemming us in. I can't see anything. A slow, stupid part of my brain tells me she's just kidding around, and I almost laugh. Switch takes in at the strange expression on my face and seems to interpret it as fear. Maybe that's what it really is. She gives me a reassuring thump on the arm. Don't worry, if they step out of line, I'll give them what for. Okay, let's read the chat a bit. No, in French it would have been feuillage. Yeah, that's right, but at least this word is of a French origin. Am I right? But yeah, VN vocabulary is a cute thing to deal with. Yeah, personally, I like how Ebihime writes. She's a German, by the way, and she writes very lovely, like different visual novels. For example, she writes BL sometimes she writes Yuri, sometimes she writes some hetero romance, but with some quirks or something, and she sometimes uses pretty sophisticated vocabulary, and I love it. Okay, I still have some. I still have my drink spilled on my desk. Okay, now it should be clean, I think. I hope. I'd say foliage is just Latinate or something. Mirai no Hito, I see so much unknown words in this game. Oh yeah, sorry that I'm not translating it, but I figured out that it would be quite difficult, and anyway, I would like to stream more in English and appeal to English-speaking audience, but if you don't know what some word means, you can just ask, and yeah, I can explain, or someone on the chat can explain. So yeah, what for? It's like I think that here it's more like what they deserve or something like that. I do appreciate the appealing to the English-speaking audience for once. Yeah. Well, I think that I'll also stream in Japanese sometimes, because I have quite a number of Japanese subscribers and and also some Japanese indie VTubers who are interested in my content. So probably I'll try to do that too. But yeah, it's quite difficult to attract the audience. Maybe I need to think more about marketing. Okay, yeah, Mac, yeah, Karuna, thank you for coming. It's sad that you can't be with us today, but yeah, that's life. Okay, let's continue. Okay. She holds her hand over the blade of her sword and mutters a chant in an unfamiliar flowing language. The blade begins to glow with its own white light. The light drives the gloom away and sends a shudder through the things that lurk within it. Even I have a sense of their presence now. Yeah, that's rattled them. Magic. They must be having the same reaction. We're all just bumpkins to you, but they won't stay cold forever, will they? Probably not, and we're going to be the ones at a disadvantage if they attack us here, among these close-packed trees. I look around and spot an area some ways ahead where the trunks appear less densely packed. I think there is a clearing yonder. Yeah, yonder is well, I forgot. Well, first of all, it's at some distance. It's something distant. And now, clearing yonder. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, I see it. I see it. It's got to be an improvement. We're gonna make a run for it on my mark. Run, you say? Just move as fast as you can. I'll cover you. I swallow something hard and force myself to nod in agreement. Ready? Go! We break into a sprint, zigzagging through the trees and leaping over fallen branches. The speediest gait I can muster with my crooked leg makes for a truly unsightly display, but I don't have the luxury of worrying about my dignity right now. I really am scared. Only my surging adrenaline is keeping me ahead of the hounds and in pace with Switch. We emerge into the clearing, home to the remains of a woodcutter's cabin. Switch skids to a halt. I overshoot her, and she plants the sole of her boot against my backside and shoves me out of the way. Yeah. I recover and spin around just in time to see our pursuers burst from the tree cover. There are two of them. They're walking trees? Not quite. They're humanoids with withered, blackened bodies identical to that of the trees, evoking the same eerie decay. They're moving, but aside from that, they display no signs of life as I understand it. It's as though they're puppets, suspended by invisible strings from the black bows that loom over us. They must be the product of some vile magic, perhaps the very antithesis of that white light emanating from Switch's sword. They're uncanny in a way that exceeds the meager scope of my life's experiences, but Switch doesn't break a sweat. In a heartbeat, she's in their midst. Wow, cool! The sword of light flashes about her, and with 1, 2, 1, 2, they're both in pieces. It's a little anticlimactic. Yeah, it was too fast, I guess. Is it over? Yep. Scraps with monsters are usually pretty brief affairs, at least in my experience. Either you're faster than them, or they're faster than you. And I'm pretty fast. And there's only 2 of them. It looks that way. It's strange. I thought there were more as well. Well, if there were others, they probably saw what I did to these 2 and went right back into the filthy holes they crawled out of. Now, come to think of it, why am I reading this with some small, with some like tiny flavor of Texas accent? I'm not sure if it's like Texas accent, but in my head, Switch speaks like a person from Texas. I don't know. This is cursed, but I'm not sure if there are some Americans, which I doubt, but they may come here. They will probably say that my understanding of the Texas accent is pretty cursed, but yeah. All right. I thought about my life for a moment and how fucked up it is. Let's continue. Switch gives a contemptuous cough and she sheaths her sword with her usual practiced motion. Yeah. Need to... Yeah, she was like, ha, ha. Let us press on with all due caution. So she says, but I'm still sitting on my arse, and I'm not sure I can remember how to use my legs. Come on, back on your feet, pilgrim. She extends a hand to pull me up. I extend my own hand, and at that moment I see something in the branches above us. All I see is a movement. Being made of the same stuff, they're perfectly camouflaged. Switch! Following the direction of my eyes, she spins on her heel and steps back, freeing her sword in the same motion. But that's as far as she gets before the third monster drops out of the trees and crashes down on her. Ah! Son of a bitch! Hanging there, Switch, I'll do something about this one. I scrabble across the clearing and seize what must have been a woodcutter's axe from the remains of the cabin. I bring it down to the monster's back as hard as I can, and it promptly snaps in two and comes apart in my hands. It's completely rotten. Yeah, the axe is rotten and unusable now. Damn it! Wow! The two monsters which put down earlier seem to have made a full recovery. They're coming over to assist their comrade. Just how is that possible? They were cut into three. Haha. What's two more? I toss away the remains of the axe and throw a kick at the nearest monster. It doesn't seem the slightest bit bothered. I might as well have kicked the chief's anvil. Through a cooperative effort, they manage to undo the vice grip Switch has hitherto maintained on her sword. It drops out of her hand and they hoist her into the air. You fiends! What are you planning? I snatch up the sword and swing it with abandon at the monsters. Huh? I cut through nothing but thin air. It seemed to have misjudged the distance somehow. My opponent's unoccupied hand cuffs me across the jaw with more force than I thought those stiff-looking limbs would be capable of. I'm sent sprawling across the floor of the clearing with the taste of iron filling my mouth. I shakily get to my feet, my head spinning, but the monsters are already off into the trees with a furious Switch in their clutches. I waste no time in giving chase, but the forest seems to part to allow them passage, only to close in for me. So it's kind of a magical forest. My pursuit is quickly thwarted. Before long, I lose sight of them completely. I can't catch up. Oh, damn it. Oh no, he lost her companion. Why am I misgendering him? Like, yeah, he lost his companion. Well, that's unfortunate. I see. This guy is now a pro at losing attractive women. Poor Otto. The last time I said that he's a lucky bastard, but now I feel pity for him. I trudge through the interminable sea of trees in what I can only guess is the right direction. My head aches, my face feels hot and feverish. My legs are stiff and my feet are sore. I spit and find my saliva red with blood. On the inside, a sickening chill eats away at me. A torpid concoction of anxiety and shame. Okay, I like the vocabulary here. Okay, torpid. Mentally or physically inactive, lethargic. Concoction. Yes, concoction. A mixture of various ingredients or elements. Okay, so he's slow, lethargic, and he has all the emotions in his head spiraling around, and yeah, making him like this. That pure animal fear I had felt when I was running for my life was positively refreshing in comparison. After a period of time I don't care to estimate, I can see the trees thinning out again. Another clearing? I can have been going in circles, right? Emerging into the clearing, however, removes all question as to whether or not it's the same one. Oh, hello. Yeah, unfortunately we're in the streamer mode, so yeah, so we can't see her in details. I'll just save a slot, save the game here because I'm curious. Let's be honest. Monsters or not, I definitely would have noticed her. Woman. Is there patch for this game? No. There is this modesty filter inside the game, so if yeah, it's in options. Hides partial nudity and suggestive imagery completely. Yeah, and if disabled, it's displays nudity. Yeah, so if you are curious enough, you can download this game on Steam and just play it by yourself. But in that case, you won't be able to listen to my beautiful but at the same time awkward and totally unprofessional voice acting. So this is so you must choose between one and another. Whoa, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Sorry. I cover my eyes reflexively, but I equally can't resist the urge to peep through them a bit. The bather is not really making any effort to protect her modesty, so I don't feel too guilty about it. What's got you in such a worry, traveler? It takes me a moment to remember what I was doing. My friend was captured by monsters. Have you seen or heard anything? I haven't, I'm afraid. Damn it. Then I've really lost them. Nevertheless, I mustn't abandon my search, so I'll excuse myself. Let me apologize again for having disturbed you. Good day. I turned to leave, my heart sinking again after that brief excitement, when the bather calls out to me. Please don't think me cold when I say this. Oh. But you're better off giving up on her. Like, this face is... What the heck are you talking about? There's no way I can do that. After all, she didn't hesitate to help me when I was in a jam. It's foolhardy to go marching blindly through this forest. You'll only meet a sticky end. You'll only meet a sticky end yourself. The spring is the only place that hasn't been corrupted. The water is sacred. Say, why don't you take off those filthy clothes and come join me? A quick dip to blow off some steam and cool your head. I turn back to the bather. This time, I don't cover my eyes. I can tell you're a very cool-headed lady. You have to be to survive in this world. Well, I kind of have an urge to read her with British accent, but that will slow down my reading speed because I'm not so used to it. Very cool-headed, yes, but you misspoke just now. Oh? You're better off giving up on her, is what you said. But I never told you my friend was female. Please, don't get any strange ideas. It's common knowledge that the monsters in this forest are only interested in women. They're just overflowing with earthly desires, you know? And yet you make a habit of bathing here? Sacred spring or not, that seems like a truly foolhardy idea. There's no danger whatsoever if you just follow the stream. In and out. Let me reiterate. This is common local knowledge. I'm sure you're worried about your friend, but I implore you not to let suspicion overturn your reason. Okay, I understand. You just came here to take a bath. I'm just being paranoid. I have only one more question. Yes? Where are your clothes? I beg your pardon? Did you walk here naked, or are you actually the nymph of the forest? Wait. I like this expression. It's rhombic eyes. Like, I did nothing, I saw nothing, I'm just bathing here, you know. Really now, I never once claimed to be anyone else. Oh. The nymph steps out of the water. Large, gossamer. Okay. I'm interested in this word now. What's this? Gossamer. A fine filmy substance consisting of cobwebs spun by small spiders, seen especially in autumn. Okay, so yeah. So she has those spider web wings. The nymph steps out of the water. Large gossamer fine wings sprout from her back, and elegant raiments that look as though they are formed from the matter of flowers materialize around her voluptuous body. I feel as though I've been reduced in some degree by her mere presence. I feel as lowly as an ass. I love this expression. I think it would suit you well. What would? She casts a gloved hand airily in the direction of the spring. Take a look. I step cautiously over to the water's edge, keeping my eyes on the nymph, who idly toys with a long forelock of grass-green hair. I risk a look in the water. What have you done to me? You don't like it? It's not what you wanted. Why, traveler? You look positively horrified. I look like a donkey. Oh my, I'm so sorry, I misunderstood you. A matter of homonyms. Where was that? Yeah, I feel as lowly as an ass. I think I've got it this time. Take another look. Whatever she's done to me now, it's got to be an improvement. Oh my gosh. Now he's an ass face. Any comments? I more or less realize that you're playing a trick on me now. If you had actually given me an arse for a face, I wouldn't have the eyes to see it. Oh no. I splash my hand into the water, obliterating the false reflection. When it reforms, it's my usual dull-looking face staring back at me. Is this the glamour that spirits are said to possess? It's nothing more than smoke and mirrors. Is what I want to say, but my hair is standing on end just being in this woman's presence. Well, crude beings like us humans can put on a show as well, in our own way. I grit my teeth and level the sword at her, acting, but not feeling, the courageous hero. Where's Switch? Well, now, I wonder... Come on. Now. Let's calm down. A cool head, remember? Tell me, traveler. Did you lose this gold switch? Ah. What are these tricks? Or perhaps the silver one? The silver one? Yeah, I like them. Sorry for making too many screenshots. It's just like I can't contain the urge. Neither, but... Hey! Even I know this story. Stop screwing around with me. She's sad now. You've no one for screwing, and you've no one for screwing around. What an overly serious young man you are. The nymph lets out a long sigh. Ah, I really can't deal with your sort. All the others who sought me out were just... Well, I suppose you had better follow me. I'll satisfy your curiosity, if nothing else. She walks off into the forest in a poised and dignified manner. I think she might be sulking a bit. Incidentally, what I thought I imagined earlier was not in fact my imagination. The plants and trees really are parting to grant her passage. Not a single leaf brushes the hem of her white dress. I stalk along behind her, swiping the sword between my sweaty hands. We eventually arrive at the edge of a third clearing. In the center of the clearing, isolated from its brethren, is a single tree. Looks nasty. Is it really a tree? If it is, then it's the most bizarre, the most monstrous I have ever beheld. In sharp contrast to its dreary fellows, it is a riot of vivid colors and filled as if to the point of bursting with a queasy vigor. As for the shape, while it can, if nothing else, can be credited with sustaining the basic form of a tree, it seems to be in the midst of an endless profane attempt to stretch that form to the absolute limit of tolerance. It is rooted to the spot, but nevertheless it is in motion, smooth, yielding motion, constant without the slightest hitch of friction, writhing, undulating, as if struggling to palliate some unbearable agony. Yes, it is an agony. It has a human aspect to it, and that aspect is surely pain. If it sounds as though I'm struggling to describe it, really, I'm struggling to even look at it. What is that? In one sense, it is the highest master of this forest, and in another, it is the lowliest slave. A throat that will thirst for all eternity, never to be quenched, no matter how much it drinks, though it drinks the finest wine. An endless hell for all the lost souls that surrendered their bodies to base desires. Surrendered their bodies. Then those monsters were... Oh, never mind that. Why are you showing me this? Is Switch here or not? It looks as though we've arrived ahead of them. They know to steer clear of my spraying. They're bringing her here? Then, before they arrive, I brace the hilt of the sword against my flank and advance on the tree. Have a mind of plunge the point deep into its poisoned heart and kill it. Plunder it of that loathsome vitality. Besides wanting to protect Switch from whatever foul designs this abomination has for her, there's to a primitive, instinctual part of my brain telling me this thing should not exist. You must destroy it. Before I can drive the blade home, however, something like a face emerges from the trunk. This something seems to be addressing me? Otto? Wow, oh, phew. So great is my astonishment that it brings me to a halt mid-stride. Eomer. There is no mistaking that face. Eomer, my old friend, a fellow who fancied himself a poet and a dandy, but was really just a horny dog. Lol. Yeah, Eomer, yeah, it's one of his friends. He wandered off into the forest about a year ago, feeding me this line about the spirit of adventure and true romance. Well, the whole time I knew he was just looking to get his dick wet. Well... Wait a second. Wait a second. Those spirits look very suspicious. Don't they? Like, together with this exact phrase, it looks really very suspicious. I think that this forest is just one of a big horny jail, probably. Okay, I'll do another screenshot. I'm sorry. Oh, it really is you, Otto. What are you doing in such a sordid place as this, ah? That's what I want to ask. What's happened to you? I don't really understand it myself, but it seems as though I've become a full member of this charming community. You should stay away from that woman if you don't want to end up the same way. Hello! I jump as the nymph suddenly appears at my side. Was she always this tall? You only have yourself to blame, you cur. She approaches the tree and raises one of her long legs, poising it above an exposed root. You made your bed, and now you will lie in it. She repeatedly stamps down on the root, a hateful expression distorting her beautiful features. Yeah, that's, it really looks scary. Oh my, it looks like our other guest has arrived. I follow I follow the direction of her gaze and see the two monsters from before arriving with their captive, still marching along the same merry pace. Switch! Otto, is that you? You're a sight for sore eyes. Get me down from here. What the hell is that? Only you can put a stop to this, Otto. You have to kill me. Eomer's expression and voice are as placid, as vaguely bovine as they were in life, but behind these large mooncalf eyes are bottomless wells filled with a deep and alien despair. Yeah, his voice is that means that I figured out correctly how to read his lines, because, it's a bit like clean of all emotions, totally emotionless, and like a bit slow, like of a cow, maybe. All right. They communicate something to me that even a poet can't express in words. I understand, Eomer. I turn back to him and bring the sword level with his bland countenance. I prepare to thrust, but I can't. It's not affection for my old friend that is causing me to hesitate. My legs have at some point become bound by thick roots that have sprung out of the ground and stealthily coiled themselves around me. I hack at them with the sword, but not only are they slippery and tough, what paltry wounds I manage to inflict those up before my eyes. Let's just watch, shall we? The nymph's honeyed voice is close to my ear now. I have no choice but to do as she says. Switch, who had given up struggling at some point, renews her efforts upon seeing the tree, heaping curses upon her mute captors as they offer her up to its many writhing appendages. As she is transferred from the monsters to the tree, the monsters, relieved of their duty, collapse where they stand. Their fallen forms look very much like dead, gnarled wood. I realize with a thrill of horror that the clearing is full of similar shapes. How terrible the fate of those who sought out the nymph of the forest. I look with apprehension towards Switch, who is now suspended before the great mass of the grotesque tree as though a crucifixion is to transpire. Hey! Where do you think you're touching? Thick, sweaty... it's definitely a horny jail. Or I would rather say... the horny jail of this region. Thick, sweaty-looking tentacles bind her limbs, and her struggle to escape seems more likely to cause her an injury than bear results. A roaming appendage winds around her torso and slides under the breastplates of her armor. I would like to see that. Well, I'll see that later. The garment strains against the intrusion before coming apart with a snapping sound that echoes around the clearing. Oh! Okay, she lost her bra. The harsh report seems to awaken Switch from a state of merely professional consternation. Wait, stop! She grimaces and grows with mingled fear and disgust as the tentacles continue to prise away her armor, piece by piece, until the warm color of her flesh is entirely revealed. I can't bear to look. As a way to distract myself from the purely psychological stirring in my trousers, I endeavor once more to cut myself free of my bindings. In my haste, I succeed only in making a deep gash in my leg. Ouch. As if enamored with the taste of my blood, the roots crawl further up my legs and lower body, crushing my erection painfully against my thigh. With no other recourse, I try appealing to our captor, who has been watching the scene of horror play out with a disinterested expression. Why are you stopping me? Do you really want this thing growing in your forest? For good or ill, all that grow in this locus are my children. I cannot neglect them. It's nothing but a curse. It's poisoning you. In response to this outburst, the roots squeeze my limbs like a vice, pushing a dog-like yelp out of my throat. It hurts. This isn't good. Everything's going dark. Oh, fuck. For goodness. Oh no, you don't. I'm not letting you die that easily. You've got some nerve, boy, trying to lecture me while you're in that state. I feel her scornful eyes on the bulge of my trousers, causing it to twitch guiltily. Those simple-minded men who are little more than beasts in rot are tiresome enough, but it's men like you who try to hide their base nature behind moral ideals and pretty words who are truly beneath contempt. Let's stop it and think about it. Yeah, like contempt, it's the feeling that a person or a thing is worthless or beneath consideration. So she's misandric. I can relate to that probably. But girl, you're doing it wrong. Instead of just like trying to I forgot the word. Instead of just trying to lure men here and kill them, or well, not kill, but put them into this miserable state. Instead of that, you could just lure women into your forest and just, create your Yuri harem. That's how you do that, actually. Oh, girl, you're doing it wrong. You're wrong. It's not. Even if your mouth is still dribbling those meaningless refutations, your body is being honest. Well, what is this eroge-like line? No, your body is being honest. Your body is being honest. She's right. I can't deny her words. It's ridiculous to attempt to do so when my very body is evidence to the contrary. My face is burning. I feel sick and ashamed. What's the point in continuing to resist her will? Eomer, for all his passions, was a fellow more intelligent and sensitive than myself, and even he ended up in that state. What exactly do I have that he didn't? Otto! I open my eyes and look up at Switch. She's looking just as mortified as I, but her eyes are still glowing with a defiant spirit. It's as though what was drawn out of me has flowed into her and revived her flagging resolve. Hold out the sword! I'll give it everything I've got! I do as she says and hold the sword out towards her, pulling against my bonds and straining my limbs to bring it even an inch closer. Likewise, she reaches out with her hand, her arm twitching and bucking with the effort of resisting her binds. That should do it! In a hoarse voice, she intones the cantrip. Devoid of its flowing lyricism, but not of its power, it imbues the sword with its sorcerous light. Intones the cantrip. I should watch what this means. Sorry for ruining the pacing. Cantrip. It's cantrip is a word of Scots origin to mean a magical spell of any kind, or one which reads the same forwards and backwards. Okay. I see. Devoid of its flowing lyricism, but not of its power, it imbues the sword with its sorcerous light. The nymph shrieks and flinches from the incandescent blade. Nice! I waste no time in taking it to my restraints, which are already shrinking away. Freed of my bondage, I drive the weapon into the tree without further hesitation. The monstrosity is suddenly alive with a myriad of agonized, ecstatic faces. There are many I have recognized, only ghoulish and distorted, as those glimpsed in a nightmare. They scream in harmony with the nymph, a bone-chilling chorus. Switch falls out of the tree like a heavy fruit and scrambles over to me, placing her hands on mine. Let's go, Otto! Right. It's hot! 暑いね。本当に暑い。I think that I saw this before somewhere. I don't remember where, but I definitely have seen this in some anime or... Oh, well, for me it looks like... wait. Yeah, for me it looks like Utena. Shoujo Kakume Utena. But it's probably not like that. There was another anime title with such kind of a scene. Okay, shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to shoulder, we bear down on the sword. The light seems to double in brightness, and we're forced to squint as we push in on the hilt with every bit of our strength. There's a heart-stopping, jarring sensation as the blade snaps, and for a moment, I fear all is lost. When I open my eyes, however, I understand quite clearly that the damage we've inflicted on the tree is decisive. The trunk is split entirely down the middle, and the vitality is draining out of it as though it were a shattered amphora. Oh, I like colors on this CG. Whoa. That's some great level of coloring. Like, I really want to praise the artists who drew that. The figure of the nymph in the peripheral of my vision commands my attention. Through some queer symmetry, she seems to have shared the same fate as her child. She too is rent from shoulder to crotch, her sensuous flesh becoming naught but shriveled old wood, her face twisted into a silently screaming, hollow-featured death mask. Oh. Goodbye. The warped form collapses into a broken heap at the foot of the tree. It's a pitiful sigh that makes my chest ache. A sympathetic reaction. She simply put too much of herself into us. 「 She simply put too much of herself into us. Along with Eomer's disembodied voice, there emerges... it's like... it's the spirits who say this line. And more precisely, Eomer. Along with Eomer's disembodied voice, there emerges from the sundered innards of the tree, still glowing from the residual magic of Switch's spell, a number of transparent, non-corporeal figures. This band of ghosts look forward in the brutalized form of the nymph. Though I cannot discern their faces, they create a singular portrait of shame and regret. This looks like... Please, don't think too harshly of her. Like, for some reason, I suddenly realized that scene in Sword Art Online Alicization with Kirito's friends. I won't spoil it because it's a very, very major spoiler, but yeah, looks like a poet. Yeah, that's right. This forest is her very soul, and it was once as beautiful as she, but though we do not deserve salvation, it has been granted to us. We're all grateful, Otto. The spirits begin to disappear in the slanting sunlight that is now filtering through the cleaning mist. The one I recognize as Eomer is the last to go. I pray your journey takes you far beyond this benighted place, and that the things you seek are good and true. Farewell. Finally, he too fades away. Farewell, Eomer. Switch and I are left alone in the bright clearing. With the threat vanquished, the heady fighting spirit that matched me against it began to ebb away. The morbid shame I had suppressed reasserts itself as plain old embarrassment, and along with it comes the sharp pain from my lacerated leg. Yeah, man, you just got a boner when you saw your pretty companion being almost raped by this cursed tree. So yeah, of course you're ashamed. I'll try my best to be tough and ignore it until I know Switch is unharmed. I risk a look at my friend. She sunk to her knees, and her bare shoulders are trembling in spite of the warm sunlight. Switch, are you okay? My armor! My sword! What? They were brand new and expensive! Now they're ruined. Oh, this is the worst. Never mind, she's fine. Great. Okay, actually, she might be broken on a more fundamental level. But at least she's unhurt. Yeah. Why are you just gawking at me with that dupe expression on your face? Give me a cloak or something? For a moment I wonder where I left my pack before remembering I've had it on my back this entire time. I fish out my rough cloak and drape it over her. Aren't you upset about almost getting a flounder? A flounder. So she draws the cloak about herself and gets to her feet. It doesn't happen as often as some people like to think, but it's a legitimate occupational hazard. And not just for women either. Being an adventurer isn't exactly a walk in the park, you know? You don't have to tell me. Hey, you did well for a total amateur. You're a credit to peasants everywhere. She gives me another punch on the arm. I think I'm beginning to enjoy them. Toemu. You're a masochist, kid. I won't blame you, though. I finish cleaning and dressing my wound as best as I can and get gingerly to my feet, grimacing from the pain. It's fortunate that I've gotten used to not putting weight on this leg. I wonder what will become of this place without its mother. From the bottom of my heart, I don't give a shit. If you can walk, let's get out of here. Yeah, she's a total gremlin and I like it. Hey, wait. Don't kill me off so flippantly. Yeah. Wait a second. Hey, wait. Don't kill me off so flippantly. We turn back in astonishment at the shattered corpse of the nymph. Something is wriggling around inside it. The thing is the fresh green of a new shoot, the rosy pink of a day-old babe. A pair of dark, innocent eyes glare out at us. Son of a bitch! It's still alive! Otto, let's finish the job! Switch grabs the hilt of her shattered sword and bears down on the strange creature. With a fit of frantic scrabbling, it pulls itself free of the nymph's remains just before the vengeful warrior utterly obliterates them. It zips around the clearing like a dragonfly as Switch swings her truncated weapon at it. God, this is... whatever it is. It or she resembles our friend the nymph, only greatly diminished in every aspect, more akin to a child's doll than the great and terrible queen of the forest. Wait, I'm not spoiling for a fight. Put that knife away. It's not a knife, it's a sword. Let me show you. I put myself between Switch and the creature before she can fillet it. Hold on a moment there, Switch. I think we've all experienced enough violence today. The pack mule is right. Love and peace. All's well that ends well. Oh my gosh, she's so scrunkly. Pack mule. Yeah, he's just got called the mule. If you insist, Otto. If you aren't looking for a fight, then you'd better tell us what you do want. Spill it. Puni. It's okay. We'll hear you out. I really have no... Let's try this kind of voice, probably. I hope it won't sound too cringe. I really have no intention of causing you any more harm, nor do I wish to keep you here any longer. As a matter of fact, I wanted to express my gratitude to you. All those things I couldn't let go of really had become a curse. I needed to be separated from them before I could see that. I may have lost everything, but I feel much better for it. I feel like I've been set free. Do you really mean that? This isn't another trick? Do you honestly think it would tell us if it was? I really mean it. No, it sounds cringe. I really mean it. Both my body and soul feel so light. Yay! She flies around us, laughing merrily, and indeed, I find myself unable to suppress a smile myself as I watch her. Switch is as merciless as always, however, and snatches the little creature out of the air as if she were a pesky mosquito. What are you doing? If you're truly grateful, then you'll be willing to reparate our losses, of course. Don't worry, you'll sell for a tidy profit in the capital. Oh God. So yeah. So she basically wants to enslave her and sell her as a slave. Let her go. We have plenty of gold already. Switch gives me a doubtful look, but then shakes the nymph free of her grasp as though she were something dirty. You're lucky. Otto is such a forgiving sort. The nymph ignores her and flies up close to my face. You really are kind. You must be the kindest human I've ever met. Please don't put that kind of pressure on me. Hey, how about letting me come with you? Huh? You want us to sell you in the capital after all? No. This forest is the last place I want to be right now. We need to spend some time apart. Leave us out of your divorce. What good are you to us, huh? I can do more than just swing a sword around, that's for sure. Let's put that to the test, shall we? Bring it on, you barbarian. I'm ready for you now. The two begin to square off, the powerless goddess and the swordsman without a sword. Oh, Winnie, where are you now? You're the only one who's good at dealing with squabbling children. Talking the nymph's advice will follow the clear stream that runs from her spring. Before too long, we emerge on the other side of the forest. The sun is falling below the high mountains to our backs, and the landscape stretching out before us is gradually darkening under a sky of breathtaking rose gold. Reflecting the fiery light of the fiery light is a broad, meandering ribbon of water. It must be the Dash, Byron's largest river. Switch stretches her arms above her head and arches her back. I try to ignore the way the cloak rides up and the length of her thighs. So nice to be rid of that foul, dreary forest. Was that supposed to be a jab at me? I'm sorry, but I can only echo those sentiments. The nymph scoffs at Switch's barely veiled insult, but when she turns to look back at the forest, her expression is soft and wistful. Yeah. Until we meet again, farewell. I feel like I'm staring at something I shouldn't again, so I turn away and vigorously pace about on the grassy bank. So this is the land beyond the forest, huh? I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes. There's much more besides this, Otto. But before all that, let's find me something to wear. I spy a village yonder. Let's take a look, yes? We draw closer to what we had assumed to be a peacefully sleeping riverside village, but closer inspection reveals it to be a largely burned-out ruin, with very few houses intact. Yeah, Switch really walks naked all the way. Yeah. Well, I think that she likes to be naked, but not completely naked. But she seems like she's the kind that wouldn't mind that, like, really much. Yeah. It's just deserted. That just means we don't have to pay for anything. Switch makes a beeline to the most intact of the remaining houses, looking clad in her cloak and surrounded by desolation, like some lovely grim reaper. She pushes gently against the chariot door of the house, and it swings open without resistance. Once inside, she wastes no time in locating a chest of drawers and rummaging through it without restraint. Let's see. Clothes. I hesitate on the doorway, feeling deeply uncomfortable. This is what human society considers looting. Is it not? These adventurers seem to have their own laws. Stop making snide remarks and start looking around. The looter glares at us over her shoulder, eyes glimmering greedily in the darkness. A dark grey shape shifts in the deep shadows at the far end of the room. Can I help you find Can I help you find something? Ah! That's quite an adventure you had. It sounds as though you were lucky to escape. After extricating ourselves the awkward situation created by Switch's poor judgment, we find ourselves sitting around a supper table with the owner of the house we just tried to rob. The old lady, who introduced herself simply as Granny, was nice enough to supply Switch with modest attire that, in my opinion, at least suits her much better than that gaudy armor. Well, I can say that it definitely suits her, and also it has a choker, and chokers are very, very hot, so, yeah. She's adorable here, as always. Did you just say something, Otto? Nope. Anyway, escape make it sound like we ran away. I think it was our victory. Well, you're local here, so you can be the judge. Doesn't the forest feel different now? Now that you mention it. And this charming little fairy is the nymph of the forest? I don't know about charming, but it's wonderful to meet you, little nymph. My grandmother used to tell me stories about you. Do you have a name? A name? I've had many in my long existence, but I recall none of them now. That's quite alright, dear. As a matter of fact, I don't remember mine either. Granny lets loose with a howl of the terrifying laughter that only the elderly seem to have mastered. I spot Switch mouthing something like "Old Lady and the Nymph," who bristles in response. Perhaps I ought to address this matter after all. The nymph flies up close to my face again and swallow a too large chunk of potato. Otto, you're going to take responsibility for killing me by coming up with a name? A name, huh? What are you, a pet? Also, I won't at least have the credit for killing you. I'm asking Otto. How about Eco? Eco? I can only echo those sentiments. Eco. It has a rather nymph-like ring to it, doesn't it? Eco. It's good. I like it. Here, Eco, have a chestnut. Thank you. It's so delicious. You might be the kindest human I've ever met. Something is wrong with my intonations, but I guess that's... no. Yeah. Okay. I must check out the time. I think we're close to the end of the chapter. So, yeah. After we've finished eating, Iku curls up in front of the hearth like a cat and falls asleep. And Switch goes outside for some post-meal exercise. Personally, I'm more inclined to make like Iku, but somehow I end up in a game of chess against our host. Granny, can I ask you why this village is in such a bad state? My own village was stuck on the wrong side of that forest, but it's doing a lot better, if you don't mind me saying. Being so isolated is probably what protected you. During the war last year, the lord of this land sided with King Darius. He wasn't motivated by anything like loyalty, mind you. He was just a selfish, short-sighted man. He couldn't feel like the way the wind was blowing. His only concern was protecting his own interests, and weren't the ones who suffered as a result. It's a funny thing, your village was originally founded by those who wanted to free themselves from the yoke of the lord of that era. If you've lived a good life until now, that just goes to show the wisdom of their decision. And now the curse of the forest has been broken to boot. We really were fortunate. It's a good thing, don't make that guilty face. We're the ones who were foolish enough to bet on a lame horse. That's all there is to it. Maybe. Don't know much about this beast? Probably not much more than you. You've seen the state of the villages and we've been left behind. I've heard from the occasional traveler that she's a charismatic warlord from the far north. Some are even saying she's a foreigner from the steppes. Whoever she is, she might have whipped up the resentment toward Darius that had accumulated in those isolated northern settlements. I wonder if she made good on whatever it was she promised them. I must say that, the language that this granny uses, sounds a bit unnatural for a villager grandmother, especially who doesn't remember her name. So, okay, but yeah, never mind. Have you heard of her having any particular interests? Such as a fondness for beautiful, well-endowed women? Oh my, I might be in danger! Yeah, forever 17. My game with Granny eventually concludes in a stalemate. Feeling rather unsatisfied, I decide to step outside to get some fresh air and see what Switch is up to do. I find her engaged in some kind of training routine with the broken sword. The blade makes dazzlingly swift movements that, framed against the river and catching the moonlight, looks like a jumping fish. You don't think you've had enough exercise today? At the sound of my hail, she glances briefly towards me, but doesn't stop moving. My reaction was slow back there in the forest. That's why I got caught. That sounds surprisingly humble for the great Switch, the unscathed. Did you come here just to laugh at me? You can be rather cruel. I was trying to cheer you up. Your concern is unnecessary. Her slashing seems to gradually lose energy before halting entirely. She turns towards me and holds out her arms as though supplicating to some god. I'm okay. As you can see, I'm still unscathed. Even the best adventurers screw up occasionally. And they don't always have the good fortune to escape with life and limb intact either. Really, only a small percentage of us get to retire. Those who know the high price of true freedom, yet still seek it. This remark causes a wry, possibly even self-deprecating smile to cross Switch's features. We all know that line. I've always thought it was a terribly romantic way of putting it. Sorry. I've been thinking this for a while, but you're rather erudite for a peasant. Really? You think so? Why are you so delighted about that? Creepy. I'm sorry. It's the first time I've heard that from someone other than my sister. I may have overreacted a bit. My sister was the one who taught me how to read and write. She is a teacher. The future education of the children of the valley rests on your shoulders, Switch. I like that more than preventing a diplomatic incident. Do you really think this business could start a war? You can only say that because you've never experienced it. Wars can happen very easily. One person in the right place at the right time is sometimes all that is needed. Wouldn't that be the wrong place at the wrong time? Obviously, this is suspicious, since we're trying to prevent a diplomatic incident. Yep. Yes, it really wouldn't do. My home country is more or less peaceful at the moment, but when I was a child, it was much more... Well, violence would start over just about anything. Meaningless violence. Switch stars at the ground or something she can see there. Her shoulders look incredibly small and delicate all of a sudden. Are you an orphan? That was a good guess. Do I really look so forlorn? I shrug. I'm the same way. It was a plague, in my case. That was 15 years ago, when I was 3. One second, please. I can't even remember their faces now. After that, everybody in the village looked out for me, but they also worked me to the bone. My brother was the only real family until Winnie arrived. Arrived? Brother brought her home one day. That was 10 years ago. And right after that, he left as well. I can only hope he's still alive. What's your brother's name? Oswald. Oswald! Switch? What's come over you? Otto, I'm pretty sure that brother of yours was a member of the Adventurers Guild. Huh? What is she saying? There was a rather well-known chap by that name who dropped off the map around 9 or 10 years ago. Honest Oswald, they called him. A forthright young man whose prowess and integrity were exceeded only by his exceptionally poor fortune. That sounds like my brother. Not long after he left Winnie with me, brother dropped off the map. What does that mean? Are you okay? You're looking a little pale. I'm stunned. Just what has that idiot been doing? I wish I could tell you more, but it was before my time. But the fact that I've heard of him and heard only good things suggests to me that he's someone you can be proud of. Thanks, Switch. I'm getting cold now that I've stopped moving my body. I think I'm gonna head inside and hit the hay. I'll stay out here a bit longer. I just know I'm going to have some horrible nightmares tonight. Dark forest and slimy tentacles. Okay. So it seems like we got to another intermission, but I think that I must go now. So it's time already. So I think that we can read this intermission later on the next stream. I think that the next stream will be after the new year, because, well, as I said before, when the stream when the stream started, I will be having quite a rough week or so. So maybe around January 3rd, 4th. I don't know for sure, but I'll inform you on Twitter and on Euchre's Telegram channel. Okay, so we have now map of Byron. Wait, where are we? Okay. So we can... Okay, let's look at the map later. Now just save the game. Okay, so what are your impressions on this game? Let's spend like 5 or 10, like about 5 minutes just to just discussing this, if you have anything to say. I would say that this game had some really creepy moments. That fight in the forest, the tree itself, and some jump scares when the nymph just appeared suddenly out of nowhere and with some scary face. Not even scary, but very eerie and unnatural. And yeah, it scared shit out of me. I'll be honest. Yes, it was scary, and at the same time, yeah, it was funny. And Switch is adorable. I love her. Okay. So. Harem. So this part is called harem. I think, yeah, this is the part, the last part in the chapter. And, I'm really interested in what's happening to Winnie. Okay, so in that case, we can finish the game. Thank you very much for coming to my stream today. It was really... okay. Seems like it have elements of dark fantasy or something like that. Yes, probably, and the setting itself is quite dark because they are talking about preventing a war, and Switches and the granny mentioned that some brutal war has happened just recently. That's why I'm looking forward to it. Okay, sorry for such a quick leave. Thank you very much for coming today to my stream. It was really nice to see you all here, although there weren't many people in the comments section, but there were some people here, I think, as far as I can see. Okay, and Happy New Year! I hope the next year will be better, honestly, than this one. Okay. Goodbye, and until next year. Goodbye.